My local council just offered me 17k upfront to rent my house out through their latest scheme. Nope, not clickbait. This is actually happening. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what this scheme is, how it works, the financials, any concerns or potential pitfalls, and little tips I've picked up, and my personal experiences with it. If you're a landlord or just thinking about renting out a property, this video could be a game changer for you. Stick around to the end because I've got some advice on what to watch out for and how to find similar schemes in your area. Let me set the scene for you. My property was about to become vacant, and as usual, I put it up on the main rental portals. Normally, I'd get viewings within a week or two, but this time, nothing. I don't know if it's the market or just bad timing, but I was struggling to get interest. The rental market right now is unpredictable. Some areas are booming, but others like mine seem slower. That's when I decided to think outside the box and look at alternative ways to rent out the property. While browsing my local council's website, I stumbled across something called the Lewisham Letting Scheme. It wasn't something I'd heard of before, but what caught my eye was the phrase guaranteed rent. That's when I knew I had to look into it further. What is the Lewisham Letting Scheme? Essentially, the Lewisham Letting Scheme is a tenant finding service run by Lewisham Council. It's designed to match landlords with families who need housing. The council assists these tenants in securing accommodation in the private sector, which can be a big relief for them and a good opportunity for landlords. What makes this scheme unique is you're introduced to multiple families and get to meet them before deciding who rents your property. The council provides free tenancy agreements and inventories. You receive guaranteed rent at local housing allowance rates, and any shortfalls are made up with a lump sum. There's a one-off incentive payment, and they even offer events and resources to keep landlords informed about legislation. One important detail to note is that the minimum tenancy under this scheme is a fixed term of 24 months. That's great if you're looking for stability, but it's also a commitment. So make sure you're ready to rent your property out for at least 2 years before you apply. This scheme is especially appealing if you're struggling to find reliable tenants or want the security of guaranteed rent. But of course, there are some conditions which I'll get into later. Financial breakdown. This is the bit that everyone's interested in. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the scheme really stands out. Market rent for my property is £2,500 per month. Under the scheme, the council pays £1,950 in housing benefit. That leaves a shortfall of about £550 per month. At first, I thought, why would I accept less than the market rent? But here's the twist. The council offers a lump sum payment to cover the shortfall for the 2 years. That's 24 months times £550, which comes to about £13,300. Then they throw an additional £4,000 incentive payment up front, bringing the total to about £17,300. This is paid before the tenancy even starts, making it a fantastic cash flow boost. Compared to renting privately, you're getting less monthly rent, but the upfront money and guaranteed payments balance it out. Plus, you don't have to worry about long void periods or tenants defaulting. Personally, I found this offer really appealing. It felt like a win-win. But let's move on to what the process actually looks like. My application and viewings experience. The application process was pretty straightforward. I just gave them a call. They sent me over an application form, which I filled out and sent back to them, along with my gas safety and EICR energy certificates. And then after that, within about a week or so, my first tenants were sent through for viewings. The viewings themselves were pretty much as normal, you'd expect with any viewing. Although I did have a few weird requests. One of them asked me if I'd change the hob on a brand new kitchen to a different style, which obviously I'm not going to do that. And they also asked if I would be cutting the grass or anything like that. And I'm thinking, hold on, you're going to have this property for 2 years. Do you expect me to come around and cut the grass every couple of weeks? So a few weird requests to start with, but is what it is. But here's the part I love. You actually get to choose the tenants that you put into your property. So other council schemes, you generally give them control and they put whoever they like in the property. But with this one, you do the viewings yourselves and you get to choose exactly who you want. So what I did a little test. I actually got myself a little ball and put it in the middle of the room. Now I know their families and I know what children are like, so I know as soon as a child sees a ball, they're going to kick it. Sure enough, when they came round, the child would come in and they'd kick the ball. But what I was looking for really was the reaction of the parent. So the first parents, they came in, the child kicked the ball as I expected, and they didn't say anything to the child. And the child was just there kicking the ball against the white wall, and I was like, raising a few red flags there. The second family came in. Again, the child did exactly the same, which is what I expected them to do. But this time, the parent stepped in and said, what do you think you're doing, basically? That's unacceptable. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, someone that's going to treat my property with a bit of respect. So I went with the second family. Pros and cons of the scheme. Let's weigh the pros and cons so you can decide if the scheme is right for you. Pros. Guaranteed rent for 2 years, even if a tenant defaults. A big upfront payment that can help with cash flow. Control over tenant selection. Free agreements and inventories, and ongoing support from the council. What about the cons? Well, the rent is slightly below market rates. You might experience more wear and tear due to longer tenancies or family tenants. And here's a key point. After the 24 months, the top-up payments stop. Once the initial term is over, you'll only be receiving the basic rental amount, which could be significantly less than market rent. This is something to consider when planning your long-term finances. For me, the benefits outweigh the downsides, but it's definitely not for everyone. You have to balance the upfront financial incentives against the lower monthly rent that you'll receive after the first 2 years. So overall, I think this scheme is a great option if you want guaranteed rent, an upfront cash boost, and some control over who rents your property. But like I said earlier, it's not perfect. After the initial 24 months, the rent reverts to the basic LHA rates without any top-ups. And depending on the property market at the time, that could be a significant drop compared to the market rent. It's also worth noting that this kind of scheme isn't unique to Lewisham. Many councils across the UK offer similar incentives for landlords, but the details can vary. Some councils might provide a higher or lower upfront payment, different rent guarantees, or additional perks. If you're a landlord anywhere in the UK, it's worth checking with your local council to see what they're offering right now. You might be surprised by what's available. In the end, it comes down to your priorities as a landlord. If you value stability, guaranteed rent, and don't mind the slight lower monthly income, this scheme or a similar one in your area could be a fantastic choice. If your property is sitting vacant, schemes like this are definitely worth exploring. Check with your local council to see what incentives they offer. Every council has different programs and you might find something similar. Thanks for watching. Would you consider a scheme like this? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one.